Joining me right now on Kumite Radio, coming off a huge win at FMD 16, Javier Trujillo. What's going on, Javi?
Not much, John. How you been, brother, dude?
Good, man.
I'm just excited, man. It's been a week after the fight. I'm just happy to be back on the winning side, dude, and spectacular fashion. I thought that was like my best performance yet.
Let's talk about the fight. You were going to fight a Muay Thai striker, but then they changed your opponent a week out from the fight. How did you feel about that?
Oh man, dude. Before we started this, we were just talking about how, like, man, again, I think outside of the fight with Mehdi and my very first professional fight, everybody's pulled out about a week out or 2 weeks out, man. And when they told me this last time, it's like, he's like, hey man, John gives me a call. Hey man, I just want to let you know things are going great. Show's going to be on schedule, but I got some bad news for you. Daniel Kerr pulled out again. He blew out his ankle. I was just like, yeah, damn it, dude. He's like, but don't worry. We're going to find somebody. Monday I get a call saying, yo, you got this guy named David Graywall from UFC Vietnam. He's going to take the fight, making his pro debut. And I was like, sweet, man. But to be quite honest, like I was telling you, I was a little bit more nervous for this Graywall fight, even though he was on 1 day's notice or 5 days notice. He, looking at his record and his background, he has probably 14 amateur fights against some really high level guys, and he's a purple belt. And I thought he was going to be more of a difficult challenge than Kerr, just because Kerr is like a Muay Thai specialist with very little ground game. This guy kind of can do it all. So, you only 5 days to prep for him. The nerves were there, but I'm happy I came on top, man, and finished it with a first round rear naked choke.
Yeah, let's talk about leading up to this fight. FMD 16. There were many dates being thrown around, so you were in camp for an extended period of time. Tell me about the ups and downs of your training.
Yeah, this camp was a really interesting camp, man, because yes, I think the last time we talked, the fight was supposed to be September, then they pushed it back to August 10th, then August 10th became Halloween, and so I felt like I've been in like a 3-month camp, dude, just like 12 weeks preparing for this fight. And all during that, we had some changes on the team, with Tommy Hayden leaving, and with him leaving as the head coach, that they basically left me in charge of the MMA and jiu-jitsu program as like head coach, and me, okay, I'm now the head coach of my own fight camp, and I'm also helping our amateur fighter making his amateur debut. And so it was an interesting camp for me, because it's like before, I was just always fighting. Maybe I was teaching 1 or 2 classes a day, but that was it. And now I teach about 5 days a week, and then on top of that, doing my own fight camp, and then managing somebody else's fight camp. Dude, I really had to learn how to time manage and manage my energy levels. Because I had to be able to provide a good class for all my students, and then at the same time still have enough energy to put into a good training sessions for my own fight camp. So it was a really interesting camp for me to learn how to do all that at the same time, preparing for a comeback fight, coming off a loss. So, with that, I was really sad that Tommy had left, and especially training with him for the last 2 years, it's hard when you have somebody you trust and then they have to move on. But at the same time, something good came out of it. All the guys at Elite from the Muay Thai program, and my friend Zidolf Akuma, he took over as the head striking coach for my camp. And I reached out to Lee Livingstone with Bigfoot BJJ, who's Shannon and Rika's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach, and I asked them to also help me out. So it was nice. I got a lot of people in the Bangkok fight community to come together to help me out. And, I think it made us a stronger team, and I'm looking forward to 2019, man. I already got calls from people who want to come and train with us next year, establish camps here now. So I'm excited for what we're going to build. The goal next year is to kind of start rivaling Fairtex and Phuket Top Team and guys at Tiger and Team Quest. Like, we want to do that for Bangkok. You know, we want to be that destination. We got the facility, we got the trainers, you know, and hopefully that's what comes out of it, man.
All right, before we get into your future, let's talk about the fight. You go in there, you get a rear naked choke finish late in the first round. Let's go through, you know, what was going through your mind and your new striking that you were showing during that fight.
Yeah, man. So, like I said, we were training with Zedov and training with Paul, you know, our boxing coach at Elite, and training with Lee. You know, I knew coming off that Medi fight that's where my biggest hole was in the stand up. And now I'm going to be fighting a really high level Muay Thai fighter. The dude fought John Wayne Parr. The dude fought a lot of high level Thai fighters, and he's game. The guy was tough. So I was like, if maybe this guy in 3 months can develop a wicked sprawl, and I got to stand with this guy, I got to give answers to him. And so I spent majority of my time in the last couple of months just working on my striking, working on the clinching, the throwing elbows, getting those knees in, and man, it's awesome. I feel now I feel way more confident in my Muay Thai skills than I've ever had before. You know, out of the 6 years coming back and forth to Thailand, I finally feel like it's starting to click, you know, on the feet. And between that and my ground game that I'm developing, I feel eventually I'm going to be untouchable, you know?
So let's talk about when the fight actually got to the ground. Did you feel like you were at home again and getting that submission?
You know, yeah, but I was surprised. Like, he did sweep me. He did get up a few times, and and you know, he was game, dude. You know, I got mad respect for him, and you know, I feel especially now, dude, like in this era of all the shit talking Conor McGregor stuff and not like disrespecting your opponent. I have mad respect for that with David, dude. I think that was his pro debut, and homeboy was game. He didn't back down. He was talking shit in the clinch too, you know, when he was throwing knees back. You know, the guy can fight. And when we got to the ground, you know, he swept me at one point. You know, he he knew what was up. So when I finally got in that choke, me and Lee were actually up at his gym earlier that day, just because you know how like FMD is, like when you're in backstage warming up, it's a little mat space in the back of a parking lot, and your opponent is standing there right across from you. You know, it's a trip. So he's like, let's go earlier to my gym and let's go over a few scenarios that I think are going to probably pop up. And that was one of them. You know, I'm going to get stuck in his half guard. I have my Kimura series right there. You know, I've been landing a lot of Kimuras during this camp. So he's like, you know, the Kimura will be there, but you can also pass in the 3/4 mount. And he's like, I guarantee you, he's probably going to give you his back. If you throw a couple of punches, he's going to spin. And then you just do what you do. And you know, he called it. Luckily, I had him right in my corner, so I could hear Lee just kind of walking me through the whole process. And yeah, man, within the last minute, sinking that rear naked choke and just showing everybody that, hey, you know, I'm not a lucky fighter. I'm not just like some dude who fights cans or something like that. Like, I fought a very game opponent, and I demonstrated that, you know, I can strike, I can wrestle, and I can work ground. You know.
It's good to see that that guy Lee is helping you out a lot, you know, especially during the fight, which is, you know, important.
Yeah, man, I mean, there's a lot of black belts here in town, and when I knew that I needed somebody, I know that I need somebody to still to train under, and when I decide to learn jujitsu under somebody, there's like a few things that I look for, and like one, you have to have been competed at a high level of jujitsu, like at a Pan American or Pan Asian, whatever, or ADCC, and then you've had to have fought, and Lee has fought quite a bit back in his day. And so I'm always more inclined to listen and to follow to somebody who's been through that themselves, you know. And his process and the way he goes through it, he's just he's an excellent coach, and I'm happy to be studying under him to try and pursue to get my black belt. You know, now that I'm living in Thailand full time, you know, and that's always been a goal of mine. Just as a martial artist, you know, I'm happy to have him to study under him to get my black belt.
Definitely. Now, you know, you got Thailand, you're there, like you said, full time. FMD is the only pro show in the country. They only have a show once a year. So you're looking to fight outside the country. You're probably looking around even to Australia, other places in Asia, promotions like Ryzen, maybe in China. Road is there, one championship. What do you think? What is in your future? Where would you like to fight?
Ideally, man, I would love to fight in Japan. Like lately, I've been seeing more of Risen popping up, obviously with the Mayweather stuff. But man, when I got back into this when I was a teenager, all of my favorite fights were in Pride. You know, watching the documentary Choke and Hickson fighting in one of the first Pride fights in Japan, and watching Rampage, freaking slamming dudes when he's getting triangled, and Shogun just stomping the crap out of people. That was always my dream. Always wanted to fight in Japan. I feel like those fans would appreciate me and my style. I'm an exciting fighter, and like I said, it's just something I've always wanted to check off the bucket list. So that would be my first option, or my first choice for sure. But man, I, I just want to try and stay active this next year. I mean, I took advantage of this year off. I healed myself up. I filled holes in the gaps of my game. But I feel 2019, I would like to make a good run and see how far I can make it in the Asian MMA circuit. I mean, I would love to fight for Bellator. I'd love to fight back in the States, but, I feel my base and my following is here, and I would like to keep it here.
2019 is going to be a big year for you. You also have some plans with 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. What are those plans?
Yeah, so after the fight, I just gave a shout out to the 10th Planet guys. Like we discussed last time, I got to train over at 10th Planet headquarters, and there's Eddie Bravo and his black belts there for about a solid month. And I felt like my jiu-jitsu game grew significantly from that experience. And then staying in contact with them after that, while I was still back in Thailand, and then going to Nathan Orchard's camp, and training with those guys, and then them also helping me out. Like I knew coming into this fighting a purple belt, that on the ground is going to be a close match, but I felt, knowing the 10th Planet system, and having a deep understanding of it, I felt like that's what gave me the advantage on the ground. And I mean, he almost threw me in rubber guard and lockdown at a certain point, and I could immediately recognize it and nullify it before he could set anything up. So after that, man, we had been in the works, and in the talks about me being the Bangkok affiliate. So hopefully, when Marvin Castell comes here in December to host his 10th Planet Koh trip, from, like, I think if anybody wants to make it out there in Asia, if you really want to step up your jiu-jitsu game, I highly recommend you get in contact with me or the 10th Planet Koh guys to reserve a spot, because it's going to be 3 days with Marvin Castell. Eddie Bravo considers him as one of his top black belts, and he's going to be doing one of his dark arts camps here. And if you really want to upgrade your no-gi game, dude, when I was training over at HQ, I found myself going to his classes the most, just because his teaching style and his methods just really made sense to me. So, but he's going to be out here, and hopefully I've been having my guys running through the curriculum, and he's going to kind of test my guys and see where we're at. And if everything goes good, by 2019, you're looking at the head instructor for 10th Planet Bangkok. So yeah, look for that opening. It's going to be over at Elite Training Center. So it's going to be sick, man. I'm excited, from being like a 10th Planet Ronin, from like just reading his book and practicing on the open mat on the sides, to finally racing a 10th Planet Bangkok banner. That, it's a dream come true, man. So I'm excited to bring that to Asia.
You're still waiting to get signed by another promotion. Until that happens, how are you going to stay busy? What are you going to be doing?
Like this last year, man, I had to find ways to stay busy if I wasn't fighting, to still stay relevant in the Asian fight scene. But if I can't, with these new Muay Thai skill sets, I think I want to keep sharpening them up. So I think I'm going to take a few Muay Thai fights if no MMA fights come up, and really start competing seriously in jiu-jitsu here. Like I told you, I want to try and get my black belt in gi, and I picked up the gi again and been studying it. And you know, I just want to show that I'm an active Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitor here in Asia. You know, now we have ADCC trials here. We have like the Pan Games. We have like all IBJF has major tournaments here. So I just want to compete at all these high-level tournaments and establish myself not only as a top MMA fighter, but a top grappler. So one way or another, man, I'm gonna stay busy and I'm gonna stay active. So if I can't fight in the cage, then I'm gonna be wrestling on the mats, or I'm gonna be doing some Muay Thai in the ring. But I'm gonna find a way to stay active. Always do.
All right, Javier, man,
Shit,
thank you
yeah.
for your time. You know, I hope
Hell
you
yeah.
land somewhere really soon. You know, there's always people pulling out of fights. Be ready, and maybe we'll see you sooner than later.
Yeah, man. Like I said, any organization out there, if you guys are looking for an exciting fighter, guy who puts on a show, I get people to watch. I move the needle. You know, I'm always ready. You know, you let me know on a 2 weeks notice, I can make a cut to welterweight, no problem. You know, so like I said, foreigners need fights too out here. You know, so you give your homeboy a shot, man.
All right, man.
All right, brother.